Most of us were first introduced to the Winklevoss twins on screen in The Social Network as the villains in the 2010 film adaptation of Ben Mesrick's Accidental Billionaires about the creation of Facebook.
What, do you want to hire an IP lawyer and sue him?
No, I want to hire the Sopranos to beat the shit out of him with a hammer.
We don't even have to do that. That's right. We can do that ourselves. I'm 6'5", 220, and there's two of me.
The twins, Cameron and Tyler, didn't end up pulling a Tony Soprano on Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, but they did end up suing him in court, winning more than $65 million. And now, because of what they did with some of that money, we're hearing from the Winklevoss twins once again. In his new book, best-selling author Ben Mesrick tells the story of how the Winklevi, as they're called, went from the Facebook lawsuit to Bitcoin billionaires. Ben Mesrick also is the author of Bringing Down the House, Once Upon a Time in Russia, and many, many more. Ben, it's great to see you.
Awesome to see you, too.
So we met the Winklevi. I pronounce that right?
That's perfect.
The Winklevi. Okay.
Yeah.
We met them in your book and The Social Network, and they're back. What caused them to be back in your life?
Yeah, so I never knew I would write about the Winklevoss twins again, of all the people I wrote about.
The
Winklevi,
yes.
Exactly. And then I saw a headline about a year and a half ago in the New York Times, and it said, the Winklevoss twins are the first Bitcoin billionaires. And I knew about Bitcoin. People have been pitching me Bitcoin for the last year, but I had no interest in writing about it because, it just seems like something that's not exciting. But then when I found that it was them, and they had made this huge bet and a fortune, it intrigued me.
But it was a rocky road. I mean, when they got the $65 million, they tried to get back in the game.
Yeah, they went out.
And I love why they couldn't. Why couldn't they?
Yeah, so they went out to Silicon Valley and decided they would become VCs and invest in companies, and nobody would take their money. Nobody would touch it because everyone's end game in Silicon Valley is to sell to Mark Zuckerberg. And the Winklevoss twins are his mortal enemies. So if you have the Winklevoss twins on your spreadsheet, no one will buy your company from Facebook. So instead, they went to Ibiza, and they went to party, and they ran into some eccentric guy who said, have you ever heard of Bitcoin?
Well, they could almost be called accidental billionaires, too. I mean, that could have been accidental, just different accidental
Yeah, I mean,
yes?
They fell into it, but then they looked at it, and they decided to really go all in. And what's really intriguing is how they made this immense bet. They bought 200,000 Bitcoin, which was an enormous amount, but they bought it around $7 a coin. And then they dove in, invested in a company, and got really into the center of this whole crypto revolution and rode it up to where it is today.
So should Armie Hammer be getting ready or
Yeah, we've reached out to Armie. I would love to.
Not.
I
Is
absolutely
that true?
have, of course.
You haven't sold this already,
Yeah,
have you?
it's sold as a movie. It's going to be distributed by Columbia, who did The Social Network. And we are reaching out to everybody involved. It would be awesome.
Okay, so I'm assuming, particularly based upon what you said, that, I have to say, I'm more conversant. I'm not conversant, more conversant on Bitcoin and blockchain, thanks to you.
Right.
I still, if a gun was put to my head, I couldn't do like even a 1-minute dissertation.
Right.
That isn't what seduced you. What re-seduced you?
I mean, what gets me about this is that it's this dramatic, almost Shakespearean personal story about these two guys who I judged the minute I first met them. And we all pretty much judged them because of The Social Network. I met them in a hotel room years ago. They were one of my sources. They walked into the room, and I was seeing every 80s movie bad guy. They were the guys who chased the Karate Kid around the gym. And it's because of me. In high school, I would have been terrified of the Winklevoss twins. And so when I wrote what became The Social Network, they were the big, blonde, Aryan bad guys. But the reality is something very different. Everything is turned on its head now. Mark Zuckerberg is actually the bad guy now. He's now the establishment, and the twins are revolutionaries.
Well, you said actually on both of those notes, I think you said it was in a Vanity Fair interview, that you underestimated the Winklevoss twins, but you got Zuckerberg exactly right. What does that latter part mean?
What I'm saying is that I believe Facebook has become the monster Zuckerberg always intended it to be. Chris Hughes recently wrote this thing where he said we should break up, he said we should break up Facebook. It's changed. It hasn't changed. This is where they were going all along. If you read the instant messages, which I have in my book, Zuckerberg talked about dominating, about all the stupid people he's going to take. He really intended Facebook to be this monopolizing monster. So he's really become the guy that we wrote about. I think we got him exactly right in The Social Network.
And when you said you underestimate the Winklevoss, meaning that they were sort of big, dumb, rich
Right,
jocks
they're not. They speak 5 languages. They're Latin scholars. They're computer coders. And I think it wasn't an accident that they were at the founding of Facebook and the founding of Bitcoin.
Why'd they even talk to you, though, after the first
after
portrayal?
the first movie. So, in reality, they didn't hate the movie. They came to the premiere.
It's a hell of an endorsement.
They saw
for a movie,
themselves
by the way.
in it, and they didn't think that they were just these men of Harvard, this kind of dumb alpha male, but they wanted to tell more of their story.
So I wrote down a few book titles. They Bring It Down the House, Ugly Americans, Once Upon a Time in Russia, and obviously the two Billionaire books. You have a thing about really rich people,
Yeah.
or you think your readers have a thing about really rich people?
Janet Maslin of the Times called me the billionaire's best friend.
Oh, I didn't
love
see that. That's
I
great.
love writing about people, who have made it, who have done something incredible, who've taken a risk. And yeah, I like billionaires. I think I'm genuinely intrigued by people who have reached this ridiculous level of wealth, and I'm always curious how they got there.
Well, you're on your way. You're doing fairly well for yourself.
The writing game is not the same as the Bitcoin game.
Will Bitcoin, in your estimation, prove to be as revolutionary as Facebook?
I think it will. I think crypto
Or
is gonna
digital
change
currency,
everything.
whatever,
The
yeah.
idea of digital currency, of money that I can send directly to you with no government and no borders and no authority between us and no bank, that's the future of money. 50 years from now, we're not going to be walking around with pieces of paper, and wallets, and it's all going to be our phone or whatever it's next, and it's all going to be digital and instant. And then the question is, why do we need a government between us? Why is there a bank? Why can't I send you something right now, $1, and have it just be $1 sent to you? And that's what Bitcoin promises.
Did the Winklevoss think about Zuckerberg, and does Zuckerberg think about them? I mean, does this continue?
It's
do you
100%
think?
personal. Now, lately, it's been out in the news that Facebook is thinking of doing their own cryptocurrency.
Is that totally because of these guys?
I believe it is a personal. I think Zuckerberg wakes up in the morning and thinks about the Winklevoss twins.
Do you really believe that, or are you just saying that?
I truly believe it. I know the twins wake up thinking about Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg wronged them, and it was a big part of their life, and they'll never feel satisfied.
Until what?
Well, that's the great question. You think you've got $1 billion, row away into the sunset and be happy. But the reality is they feel like they built something and Zuckerberg stole it. And Zuckerberg, I believe, deep down, can't be looking at Bitcoin and not thinking about these twins. He knows they're billionaires. He's seen it. And Facebook is, if they're going to get into that business, the twins have already been there. And I think that that's part of what's spurring it on.
So I know you're not Nostradamus. You're just a best-selling author. But if you were Nostradamus, have you written 2 parts of a trilogy? Because I thought, no, I'm serious. It's so obvious as a consumer of your work that there is a third billionaire book with these guys.
I really think it's not over, and I really wonder how this is going to pan out. Facebook's story is getting crazier and crazier every day. I mean, whether it gets broken up, whether it dominates the world, Zuckerberg's holding on. It's a stranglehold on that whole thing. And then the twins are either going to become trillionaires, right? They're going to be either trillionaires or it's going to explode. I actually think they're actually moving in the right direction. But we'll see.
I can't wait for the third one. The second one's great. Ben, it's great to see you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Bitcoin Billionaires, Ben Mesrick, and coming to a movie theater, I guess, pretty soon near you. Good to see you.